Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies. And you know they are really groovy. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies. And we know they are really groovy.
Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, or good middle of the night, wherever you are. And if you're watching this on the replay, we greet our replay squad. Welcome to another live edition of Two Guys and Sometimes a Gal talking about movies. Today's feature and spotlight person is actor Keanu Reeves, who of course is a major A-lister you've heard of. You've seen his movies. Even if you don't like Keanu, you've seen something that he is in. He revitalized and revamped his career multiple times. He started off more doing some comedy, even some hilarious things where he, Bill and Ted, let's be honest, where he kind of came off in a very jokey way, and he revamped his career and became this major action superstar type actor. And everybody knows him, everybody loves him. The last thing I want to say about him is that his name in Hawaiian means cool breeze over the mountains. And he does have some Hawaiian genetics in him from his father's side. I thought that was pretty cool. And I also learned that he was born in Beirut and raised in Canada. Very, very cool, worldly guy. So now to talk about Keanu Reeves, here are your hosts, Manny Zamora and Rory Penland. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Keanu is best known now for being like the really coolest guy you would ever meet on a Hollywood bus. I mean, he's like a real regular guy. He's not pretentious with his, like spending money, tooling around in Porsches and Lamborghinis and stuff. He rides buses and he actually meets with his fans, and he's very cool and very down to earth, evidently, with them. So I think that's how he got in the business, was he was just a really nice guy to work with in the beginning. Something that I learned this week that I had no idea was that Bill and Ted was actually not his first big hit or his first big motion picture. It was Dangerous Liaisons with John Malkovich and Glenn Close.
Wow.
And even though he kind of seems a little out of place in that, kind of like the whole Dracula thing we were joking about last week. Whoa, Glenn Close. Well, it's the Decompt. I can see now why Hollywood wanted to help give him, a leg up, wanted to help him because he's just a nice guy.
That's
right.
cool.
Yeah,
he's a nice Cali kid.
Yeah, he has a reputation of being, like you said, one of the nicest guys and very generous. Not just he gives money to the crews and the movie crews and to other people, and just one of the nicest guys apparently. And there's that meme of him, sitting on a park bench or something, eating a sandwich, and it's always labeled as sad Keanu or whatever, but he just happened to be just waiting for a bus or something, and somebody took a picture of him. But that's the kind of guy he is. He's just very non-Hollywood.
Yeah, we were talking about Cheryl Hines on It's Casual. Remember, Rory? I think one of our guests had worked with Cheryl in the past, and I said to him, "I'm such a big fan of hers from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Is she really arrogant behind the scenes or whatever?" And he said, "No. One of the reasons why Cheryl Hines rose in power was because she's so easy to work with. She's dependable, reliable. She's normal. She doesn't require special diva attention, and that really goes a long way in Hollywood. And people forget that. Lindsay Lohan lost her, Robert Downey Jr. People don't want to work with you if you're not a nice person. Assholes really don't get rewarded. We just think they do. But Tom Hanks is a great example of a very affable guy that is very humble. People love Tom Hanks. He's always voted like the most likable actor in Hollywood. So same with Keanu.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is one of those impressions it's very hard for me to do, and I don't know why. I can
Do
only
it.
do Tom Hanks when he's yelling.
Oh, that's because that's the only Tom
There is
Hanks.
no crying in baseball. Wilson.
There's no other Tom Hanks. I feel like there's no other Tom Hanks.
I think also ironic that Keanu started out doing kind of comedy. Well, actually, with Dangerous Liaisons, not, but with Bill and Ted, he started out kind of doing comedy roles in rom-coms and stuff like that, and then reinvented himself as an action star at the same time Nicolas Cage did.
Yeah, that's
Nicolas
right. It
Cage
was
started out
intentional.
doing
It was
again.
intentional.
Yeah, started out doing the comical kind of weird characters that he was doing in like Raising Arizona and the rom-coms like Moonstruck and different things that came after. And then all of a sudden, he gets what was the one that
Con
he
Air?
did? I think it was Con Air that started the
Rock.
It was
maybe?
either that one or the one with Connery.
The Rock.
The Rock.
Yeah.
One or the other was.
One of
I think
those,
it was
yeah.
Con Air. That reinvented him as an action star. And again, Keanu, once he got speed, that's when his action film career started to take off.
And then
it was the same with Keaton.
Yeah, and then the
Keaton as
Matrix
well.
like sealed the deal of that's his,
Yeah.
an iconic deal.
He started off as a kid actor, really. He was very young, doing after school specials and things like that, and then slowly, River's Edge. That's right. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just again another one of those teenage actors that transition to adult roles and very successfully.
That was another one I just didn't feel like he belonged there. I'm sorry, River's Edge.
River's Edge.
River's Edge. I just didn't feel like he belonged in that, so it didn't make my list. But
yeah.
Anyway, let's move forward with the lists.
Yes, and quickly, I just want to do a shout out to JD who's watching from Tasmania. I'm not going to highlight your comment, but thank you, JD, for saying that. And we talked a little bit before I went on screen, JD, about how I look like I came out of In Living Color, or maybe, what did you say, Rory, from the Partridge Family?
You look like the Partridge Family bus.
Yeah, very 70s.
I've got Danny. What's the Partridge Family kid's name? Danny something.
Oh, Danny Bonaducci.
I got Danny Bonaducci back here. All right. Thank you, JD. Thank you. I'm out.
And sometimes a gal.
And sometimes a gal, apparently.
2 guys and a gal that starts the movie show.
All right. Do you want to start us off this time?
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures is the number 1 on my list. He's never topped it. It's just that funny and that much fun. The second one, not as good, although death in that one is played by Bill Sadler is wonderful.
Yeah.
And the last one that I saw, The Face of the Music, wow, it was just like, is this even the same trilogy? Is this even the same series of movies? Wow. It was just so out there. Maybe I should give it another watch, but
I didn't bother watching
the first one was,
I may go back and watch it.
Again, was wonderful. The first one was just very fun to watch all the way around. I love the characters they bring back from history. I love the actors, the performances from the actors that played them.
And George Carlin. Yeah.
He's in the second one too, but he's just so much better in the first one.
Oh yeah. And I like, it's on my list, so I'll talk about that when we get to it. So
all right. So that's my number 1.
Okay. Awesome. Great.
What's your number 1?
So my number 1, I kind of bounced around thinking, okay, do I do the deep cuts or do I do the fan favorites? I went with the fan favorites. So number 1 on my list is The Matrix.
That's my number 2.
Cool.
And just the first one again.
Yeah.
The sequel's not as good as the first one.
This is just one of the best science fiction movies ever made. I mean, great concept, interesting concept, very cyberpunk. This could have been a William Gibson novel. And Keanu as And of course, they make all the Alice in Wonderland references, and he's basically Alice, going down the rabbit hole literally, and discovering the truth about the world. And I'm not going to spoil it for the one or two people who haven't seen this movie, but yeah, great action, great cast, Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie Moss,
Joe
Joe
Pantoliano. Why didn't
Joe
I take
Pants,
the blue
yeah,
pill?
yeah. He turns out to be the and of course Hugo Weaving,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson. Yeah,
You smell.
human
Hugo Weaving was
started.
wonderful in it. And again, most of it was filmed in Australia. That's why Hugo Weaving was in it.
Yeah.
I love the films where Keanu Reeves, it doesn't matter if he's a Cali boy. That's his character in the movie,
Right.
So it doesn't matter that, well, he sounds like Bill and Ted from Bill and Ted. He sounds like Ted from Bill and Ted. I mean, it still works there. So those make the best Keanu movies, is when it doesn't matter.
Right. Exactly.
And we'll talk about more about that later with my picks later.
Yeah. But and just just a great action movie. Like I said, great sci-fi.
Great CGI.
Great CGI early on. This was 1999.
Yeah.
So still the early days, but the guy who designed a lot of the machinery and stuff is considered one of the great. He was a comic book artist, and of course I forget his name right now, but I think his last name was Bennett. And he was known for doing these very intricate, very detailed drawings, and so they thought, oh man, this is the guy that designed all this tech, and it had a lot of influence too from like Japanese manga and stuff like that. So yeah, but what else didn't I mention? Anyway, it's just a great movie. And Keanu, like you said, it doesn't matter if he's Cali or not or whatever. I think he does really well as he's sort of befuddled, like what the hell's going on, and then discovering what is going on, and and a great climax. I mean, the other two, the sequels, didn't quite match up to it, but
not even close.
Yeah, but so if you're gonna see a Matrix,
I think when we got the original, we kind of got shocked with the whole premise and everything with it, and then like the surprise was all done. Well, by the time we got to 2 and 3, so it was like, okay, where are we going from here?
Right, exactly.
So,
where do we take the story?
But when you go back and watch the first one again, it's like you get the surprise again. You see things you didn't see the first time, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So number 2.
That was my number 2.
Oh, okay.
Was The Matrix.
Okay. All right. Well, then we jump to number 3.
Yes.
What's your number 3?
Point Break.
Oh, okay.
Was my number 3 with him and Ghost.
Patrick Swayze.
Dirty Dancing. Patrick Swayze. Swayze's performance very good in this. Gary Busey's performance in this is really good. I guess it was before the motorcycle accident. He was Gary Busey.
Still saying,
hey, how about the color purple? Color purple is you haven't seen it anywhere like you've seen it nowadays. Yeah. That's like a famous TikTok thing now. I keep bumping into that one. I keep seeing that one. Color purple. It's really purple now. You have never seen it so purple. Thanks. Thanks, Gary.
Hey, I was Ginger Dead Man.
So, for those who haven't seen the picture, let me give you a quick premise. There is a group of guys that are robbing banks. They're called the Dead Presidents. They're wearing masks of ex-presidents, Nixon, Reagan, Jimmy Carter, and they're having a hard time catching these guys. And Gary Busey is a police, I won't say chief, but he's the head of this particular manhunt. And he has got an idea that they're California surfers. based on some pictures when one of them mooned a camera in a bank. They've got tan lines, and he thinks they're California surfers. So Keanu Reeves, the new guy, the new hotshot cop, he wants to catch these guys and get some cred. He goes undercover as a surfer dude and meets up with these guys. And sure enough, Busey's right. And I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But it's an interesting film. It's got good humor. It's got good action. Again, it's an interesting premise, and Keanu's performance in it is better than usual in that one.
Yeah.
So I dug it.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
It was on my honorable mention list, and then I went back and skimmed through it again last night, and I was like, nope, it's got to make the main list. It's better performance than some of these others I've got here.
Yeah. Well,
including Speed, which wasn't really Keanu Reeves' movie. It was more Sandra Bullock. It was more Dennis Hopper, man. More Jeff Daniels. Keanu was interesting in it, but yeah, not as good as Point Break. Good double feature, though.
So yeah. So and it's funny that you mentioned that because number 2 on my list is Speed.
There we go.
Which beat out Point Break by that much. But yeah, Keanu Reeves, another cop role.
And I hate his haircut in that.
And you hate it?
Yeah, I don't like his haircut in that.
I don't know. It looks appropriate for the role, but yeah, it's mostly Sandra Bullock's movie. Yeah, she gets to drive a bus. You know, and I don't think it's spoiling anything by saying that the premise is that there's this mad bomber played by Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper,
man, and
is he a bomber man?
He's a yeah.
Is he a bus bomber man?
And so he's put he's put a bomb on a bus that if it goes I think under 55 or 60.
No, it might be 80
or something like that. Yeah,
it goes under 70
it goes
or
below
80,
a certain speed, it will blow up.
Yeah.
And so Keanu has to stop the bomb or figure something out. Lots of great stunt work. There's that great scene where the bus jumps over this gap and then this freeway, which of course is just ridiculous, but it's a good little action movie, and yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it.
The only reason
and it was a tough call. It was a tough call.
Yeah, the only reason it didn't make the list was because it was more everybody else than it was Keanu to me.
Yeah.
He was there, yes, and he was good, yes, but yeah, he was playing straight man, Dennis Hopper, Sandra Bullock, Jeff Daniels, and all the rest. You know, Alan Ruck. We don't see Cameron from Fast Times at Richmond, from Ferris Bueller's Day Off too often. You know, we get a relish when we get him when we get Alan Ruck.
Enjoy while it lasts. So all right, so that was my number 2. We talked about number 3. Your number 3
was Point Break.
Mine was what was mine? Oh, John Wick. Thank you. Thank you.
That was my number 4.
Behind the
how convenient. That was my number 4.
How convenient. Well, that was so that's my number 3. It's John Wick. Keanu back in action. Just a great killer. It reminds me of some of the.
I watched it for the first time last night.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the others yet. I mean, I stayed up late and watched about 15 minutes of the second one just to watch how they bring him back in again.
Yeah. The other one, they kind of create this whole mythology, this whole. I mean, there's this world that they've created, and I think unlike the Matrix, the sequels are actually I wouldn't say better than the first one, but definitely they do continue the story, and they're really good.
The thing that amazed me most about John Wick was the choreography for the stunts and the fighting
Yeah,
in those. Oh my God. I've
yeah,
never seen
yeah,
such precision. I mean, he's moving around, killing and shooting people like limitless.
yeah.
With like he's taking the pill to use 100% of his brain capacity. I mean, he doesn't miss a beat.
Well, Keanu, to prepare for the role, he trained with like tactical people. I mean, he got,
Yeah.
he,
It
he
shows.
went through a boot camp and
Wow.
showed him how to use all the weapons, how to, all the fighting techniques, all of that. And I was going to say that it reminded me of some of the best John Woo movies, like his Hong Kong movies, and it had that same kind of style.
The first Jason Bourne film too, with Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
I love the puppet from
Team America. Yeah.
Team America. Matt Damon. But again, that kind of action choreography, just so fast paced, and I mean, it doesn't give you a time to catch a breath after somebody's, after he's killed somebody and then moves on to the next guy.
Exactly.
That is impressive. It is.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
to you, Mr. Duncan.
Hello, mate. Okay. So that was my number 4.
The Martian. I'm eating potatoes. Sorry.
All right. Next week, Matt Damon. No.
So that was my number 4.
Okay.
So what was your number 4?
My number 3. My number 4 is Constantine.
Constantine is my number 5.
Wow. So we're just one off there. Constantine. I love this movie. Even though
saw it for the first time last night.
Wow. It's one of the he doesn't do very many horror movies. I mean, he did one with Al Pacino where it's a lawyer and Al Pacino turns out to be.
That was Pacino's movie, though. I couldn't put it on my list.
That was definitely Pacino's movie. Yeah, that's why I didn't.
That was Pacino's movie.
That's why I didn't make my list. But Constantine, definitely Keanu's movie.
Yes.
Rachel Weisz is in it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why she's married to Daniel Craig.
lucky fella.
They're a cute couple, James Bond
says.
and Rachel Weisz.
Yeah, loved her in the Mummy.
The Mummy.
But yeah. So Keanu Reeves plays John Constantine. He's a paranormal investigator and an exorcist. Even though, and there was a bit of controversy because fans. Because in the comic books, it's based on a comic book called Hellblazer,
right.
And in the comics, Constantine is British and he's blonde, and so of course everybody gets, but he's not British and he's not blonde. It's like, who cares?
There's a different guy that does him on TV for the
who is actually more comic accurate, and it's actually a pretty good series, even though it was kind of short lived, but no.
Well, he was showing up on what was the show where all the superheroes were getting together?
Agents of Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow. Yeah, he was showing up on Legends of Tomorrow too.
Yeah, they added him, which is cool. But Keanu, I think, kind of does a good job playing the character. What was his first? I forget his first name. I know his last name is Stormare.
Tilda Swinton plays Gabriel, which is interesting.
Tilda Swinton, yeah.
And one of my favorite character actors, I think he's Dutch, is Peter Stormare.
Stormare, yes.
Yeah, who you'll recognize from Fargo as the guy that puts Steve Buscemi in the wood chipper.
The wood chipper, yeah.
I guess that's your friend in the wood chipper there. I love that line.
Right, yeah.
He was on Prison Break for the first season or two.
Yeah.
He's done so much. He's the crazy Russian in Armageddon, who's up in the space station by himself. He's been locked up in a space station, so he's all crazy and nuts now.
Yeah.
It's a great character.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, everything he gets, he makes the most of it. He's even in one of those Larry the Cable Guy films.
Right. Yeah.
So in any case, I love whenever I see Peter Stormare, and he plays the devil basically.
Yeah, he plays the devil. He plays Satan.
Yeah.
And he is
He's good. He's fun.
He's one of 3 of my favorite Satans, which is weird to say. The other one is Viggo Mortensen in The Prophecy, and of course the guy who plays him on Lucifer. And I forget what his name is, but Stormare as Satan is great, and Tilda Swinton playing the Gabriel Angel, the angel Gabriel, I should say,
Yes.
as this sort of androgynous character, and Christopher Walken plays Gabriel in The Prophecy, and for some reason Gabriel always seems to be this pissed off, unhappy, wants to destroy humanity, hates humans,
jealous of humanity because God is he's God's they're God's chosen.
Exactly. And she's terrific as
well, there's no surprise there.
But yeah, it's another good little horror movie if you haven't seen it.
So she's in both universes, the DC universe and the Marvel universe.
Yeah, and Shia LaBeouf has a small role.
Oh yeah,
in this character. I almost forgot about that. It's one of his early roles.
That one almost dropped it off the list for me.
But it wasn't annoying in this one. It was okay. It was,
this was early Shia
LaBeouf. Before he kind of started getting
weird.
Yeah, but
before Hollywood went to his head.
Small character. But anyway, so that was number 4 on my list. All right, so what's number 5 on our lists here?
Constantine was number 5 on mine, so you're up.
All right, so mine was Bill and Ted. So ours kind of backwards. Mine was Bill and Ted.
Oh, so funny.
Because
my number 2 was your number 1. My number 3 was your number 2. My number 4 was your number 3, and my number 5 was your number 1.
Yeah. So
something like that.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Yeah, the only one on your list that didn't make mine was Point Break. But Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I mean, this is the one that really kind of introduced, that I really remember Keanu from. I know he'd done some other stuff before, but this is the one that really kind of put him in the forefront. It's like, oh yeah, this guy. And, he, like I said, he went on to do sequels. There was also a short-lived cartoon version, and he did the voice. He actually provided the voice. I mean, they both did of the characters, but yeah.
Alex Winter is the other. That's Bill.
Right. Yeah.
And again, he's a very nice guy to work with. I've heard. He's very nice to the fans, and he's done some other things, but he disappears into roles where you don't really see that it's him. The one that stands out for me is he was in Lost Boys. He was one of the vampires in Lost Boys.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So again, every time a Bill and Ted film comes along, he gets to play Bill again. It's always nice to see him come back.
Yeah.
Keanu, this is the role that he's, everybody really kind of associates him with,
Exactly.
And again, we joked about, he didn't belong in Dracula. Oh, dude, that Dracula dude's gnarly.
Exactly.
Kid about that. And again, in some respects, Dangerous Liaisons was kind of the same thing, but that was even before he did Bill and Ted. That was the funny part, was I didn't realize that movie had been released before Bill and Ted. I thought it came like a couple of years after. And he had already established himself from doing, the rom-coms and that kind of thing.
Right.
By the way, the first movie on my honorable mention list is a rom-com that he did called Feeling Minnesota.
Okay.
and it's like a trailer trash rom-com. So it deserved a mention. I mean, it really did. Vincent D'Onofrio is kind of the heavy in it. Delroy Lindo's in it. It's interesting. They make a couple, a match made in hell.
Yeah.
But you know, she'd be a lot worse off with Vincent D'Onofrio, who tried to kill her in the movie, and that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Well, I hadn't seen that one, but well, before we get to that, before we get to my honorable mentions, I do want to mention
It's a very dark comedy.
Oh, okay. On in Bill and Ted, the three sort of leaders of the future are all these famous rock and roll personalities. You know, you got Clarence Clemens, Faye Waybill from the Kinks, and I want to say Martha Davies, but I forget who the woman is. But she's also
Now they're introduced in the first one or the second one?
in the first one.
Oh, okay, all right.
They're the one when they
It makes
finally go to the
sense.
future.
It
Yeah,
makes sense
and-
because you know
and-
music is what pulls the whole universe together.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the whole trilogy is about.
And Jane Wheatland from the Go-Go's plays Joan of Arc in
Okay.
in the first one. So
Oh, funny.
all these different interesting pop stars are in.
I
So-
didn't know that.
Okay, but I just wanted to bring that up for the fans. All right, so one of my honorable mentions, interestingly enough, when we talk about a wedding, is called Destination Wedding, with Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder, and it's a total character piece, and it's basically just a conversation between these two characters. There's no other dialogue from anybody else. It's just these two, and they start off where they're kind of antagonistic. You know, they aren't getting along. They're both very snarky and very bitter. You know, he's just a couple of very broken people. But as the movie progresses, you know, they start to realize that they have more in common than not. And it's a funny movie, and it's an interesting movie. The only thing about it, though, is that it's kind of stagey, and the dialogue is so obviously scripted. You know, so it kind of throws you out a little bit, where it's like, oh, okay, you know, no real person would actually say that, but it's still good. I mean, the dialogue is very clever, sometimes a little too clever, but it's very clever.
I'll have to take a look at it.
And yeah,
I like Winona Ryder. I really am a
Yeah,
big
and
fan of Winona Ryder.
her
She can do just
her
about
character is
anything
actually
now.
a little more interesting than Keanu's, but it's a fun movie. It's still a good movie. I do recommend it. My other honorable mention is Point Break. Like I said, it just barely made the list, or missed making the list, but it's still an excellent movie. But I think it's really more.
That's what I have to
Swayze's
say about
movie.
Speed. Speed was on my honorable mention list, but we've already talked about it. So
Yeah,
I do
But I
have
think-
one more honorable mention though to mention.
go for it.
Do you have any others?
Yeah, actually, I do. I have
Okay,
one
go
more.
ahead and do yours. I'm going to do mine last.
Okay, my other one is
'Cause this is a surprise.
Something's Got to Give with Jack Nicholson and Diane Keaton. Keanu plays a doctor who is taking care of Jack Nicholson because he's had this heart attack, and he winds up falling in love with Diane Keaton, although she's obviously much more mature than he is. And so there's this love triangle between him and Nicholson and Keaton.
God, I've never heard of this movie.
Really?
I don't know how, but I've never heard of this
How?
movie.
Yeah, it's definitely a rom-com, but it's good. It's a good movie, and you get to see Diane Keaton naked. So that's
Should
or
we?
topless, I should say. So there you go.
It's kind of like an SOB when Julie Andrews, bears the breasts. It's like
it is kind of that kind of a moment.
the hills are not alive. Sorry. That was
They're
terrible that you
real
said
and
that.
they're
Terrible that you
somewhere
said
else.
that.
But anyway, yeah, I
Gosh.
recommend it. Yeah, go watch it. I think it might have not
Gonna
too
have to
bad,
look
but
into it.
look into it.
If
Yeah,
it's got Jack Nicholson and Keanu Reeves in it, I mean, come on.
yeah, he
And
was only good.
Diane Keaton.
And Diane Keaton. I think those are my
I was looking for
honorable mentions.
interesting movies to skim through, this past couple of days, and I realized that one of the latest movies that he has done was an animated film, and I was like, no way. It's called the DC League of Superhero Pets.
Oh,
And and Keanu plays, of all people, Batman.
oh,
And he's good. That's why I'm giving him a mention here. He's actually a decent Batman in this movie. He harkens back to, the animated series Batman, and he does a good job of it. I was like,
wow.
really, really surprised. It's got a great cast. Dwayne the Johnson Rock plays Superman's dog, Crypto, and
okay.
Kevin Hart, of course. They do a lot of movies together now. He plays Batman's dog. And
I'll have to see that. Yeah.
And yeah, they got the rest of the Justice League in the movie. And who is it that Kate? She was just in the Little Mermaid as Ursula.
McCarthy, Melissa McCarthy.
Kate McCarthy plays the villain in it, Lex Luthor's pet, which is a guinea pig. And she, basically neutralizes all the superheroes in the Justice League, so their pets have to save them. So it's a fun movie. And again, Keanu Reeves is Batman. John Krasinski, who from The Office, and he actually ended up playing in the Marvel universe as Reed Richards in the in the last Doctor Strange movie, in the Multiverse of Madness. He is Superman in it, and again, very good casting and voice casting. I mean, he does a great job. But Keanu Reeves is Batman. I was like, oh my God, is this going to work? And man, he's spot on. Wow. He just does a really good job in it. So I was really, really pleased with it. And I want to go back and watch the whole thing all the way through, because I had to skim through it. I was running out of time.
Yeah.
But I watched a couple of his scenes. I was like, oh, wow, man. Never would have guessed, but there it is.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned, Facebook user mentioned A Walk in the Clouds. And that's actually pretty good. Keanu Reeves, kind of a romantic movie.
I can't recommend The Lake House.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that one too, but yeah.
Just a really weird premise. It involves time, and I mean, if it's a chick flick, so if you want to watch it, go ahead, knock yourself out. But
yeah,
it wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
And it was a chance to throw him and Sandra Bullock back together again,
Right. Yeah. There was something else. There was a movie that he did called A Scanner Darkly, talking about animation. I thought maybe that's the one you were going to talk about, but which is more of it's kind of a film noir, but or it's a detective story, but it's done in this weird sort of animation style where they kind of rotoscope and computer generated type of deal. It's an interesting movie, but yeah, it didn't make my list or honorable mention. It just didn't really. I mean, I like the style, I like the movie, but not the movie, but the style, how they did it. And I like kind of experimental stuff like that. But yeah, it just wasn't my cup of tea. But definitely gonna see that DC movie just because of that.
Yes, we did talk about The Matrix, which is the success that Johnny Mnemonic was not.
Right. Yeah. This is the movie that Johnny Mnemonic wanted to be. It was.
We should have a dishonorable mention where we talk about the worst films of people, but yeah, Johnny Mnemonic was just. I think they had the right idea, but I don't know. Maybe wrong director. I'm thinking because it was pretty much a mess from start to finish.
Yeah.
So I can't blame that on the actors that were in it. If they were all bad, that means the director didn't do his job right.
Yeah. And I think that was actually based on a William Gibson novel, who's
Yeah.
the dean of I think he coined the term cyberpunk.
Oh,
And kind of created the subgenre.
well, my brain's about to explode. I swear to God, I think that's a line from the movie.
It may be.
I remember that. Whoa, my brain's about to explode. Too much input.
Yeah. Well, I guess if we have a dishonorable mention, we've talked about.
Take some of input. Brain not explode.
That's very good. Of course, we talked about Dracula and Keanu's terrible British accent. And I'm always
again, with Winona Ryder.
And Winona Ryder, yeah. And so they were reunited. They were also reunited. They're in Destination Wedding. And whenever I think of Dracula and Keanu, and because Carrie Elways is also in the movie, there's that scene in Men in Tights, and of course he's making fun of Kevin Costner in that one, where he says, "Well, at least I have a real British accent." Unlike other Robin Hoods,
wow, Robin Hood. Wow, man, I hadn't thought about that one. Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman made that
as
movie.
The sheriff of Nottingham, saying, "There will not be any Christmas."
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, but
talk about a stinker.
Yeah,
but Keanu wasn't in that one.
Keanu was not in that one. Christian Slater was, and of course Kevin Costner just not good as Robin Hood. Morgan Freeman, and Alan Rickman pretty much saved that movie for me, and even Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio played Maid Marian, had a better accent. It's like he tried and then just gave up. You know, it's like, oh, really? They couldn't find a British actor to play that part, but it was a vanity project for Costner. So.
Yeah.
So, all right, where's our gal?
I'm right here because Rory has a ghost. There's some kind of a ghost going on with Rory. I'm getting DMs. I'm getting that notification that I had that there was a DM from you and you were live on air, and I was like, that's weird. And then I looked and it has somebody typing, but then the next one hasn't come in yet. I don't think you're hacked. I think it's a glitch. But So I'm thinking. So I'm looking at Rory live on air, and I'm thinking, is he surreptitiously doing this? But no, he was like his hands were totally present. I think it's one of his magic.
My hands never leave my arms.
So I apologize for that distraction. I will keep it on Keanu. I love Keanu. I love everything about his new girlfriend. She's not like that new, but his girlfriend is this incredible artist, and he gets all this flack for her because society says she's not as good looking as he is because society cares about those things.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, he gets it. That's what, like, if you TikTok Keanu, it's all about, why is he with her? She's, whatever. But I love him because he doesn't care. He's so happy. And she's this amazing artist. He totally, it's like a John Lennon, Yoko Ono thing where he respects her art. And that's something that really draws him to her.
And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And why are we the arbiters of someone else's love life? You know what I mean? But I do love her. I follow her online.
That's why I hate Hollywood sometimes.
I know.
They're that weird. Way, that they're that superficial.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's not just Hollywood. It's just people in general. I saw.
But even more so in Tinseltown.
Well, yeah, right. It's all about, but
gotta be pretty, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, they
But I
have like
saw,
a template, and then in the template, Keanu Reeves is like a 10 out of 10 male, and then they want him to have a 10 out of 10 female in their template. So then they like they're matchmakers. They're gonna find the one for him.
yeah, and then there's always the Mary Sues who like, well, he could be with me instead of this ugly person
Yeah, the fans. That
or
sounds like
whatever.
fans who are jealous. Yeah.
I think it's probably something like that. And
It's
I
a little
hate
bit
to
of
do
both,
this is
maybe.
really look, this is the pettiest thing like I'll ever do, but there was a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode which was built around the comedic premise that Larry would only do business with men who were dating really quote unquote not attractive women because he said it showed character. So he was only employing, he wouldn't do business with anyone who had a gorgeous wife because he would say that's someone who makes like terrible decisions, like they're just going after the shallow.
Mm.
So by that, I think of that because it's just a funny. I love Larry David, and it's also just funny because like when the Keanu thing broke, that's the first thing like I and all these Curb Your Enthusiasm fans thought of. He has character, but no, I think she's gorgeous. By the way, doesn't matter. Who cares? We're all gorgeous. I've never seen a human being that I thought was ugly in my entire life. Literally, there are no ugly people like at all.
Nope, just ugly attitudes.
There's just ugly attitudes, right? Like Keanu would not date those people.
That's right.
What
They
does
were not
that
at
say?
Keanu's.
Facebook user?
He's an old soul, so she makes perfect sense to me. I am so happy for them.
Yeah,
There you go.
he's relying on higher vibrations. Then he doesn't care
Higher,
what other people tell him, you know.
higher vibration.
Again, if she makes him happy, that's all that really matters.
I know. Maybe he wants to be able to have a conversation with strangely enough, maybe he wants to have something in common. But they did that to Paul McCartney, they did it to John Lennon, they do it to Jeff Goldblum, they do it to, it's like it's a thing and it's catty. It's like
Oh, who was it that they did to Jeff
his
Goldblum?
wife, the mother of his children.
Yeah, she's like an acrobat, right?
Yeah, he met her
she
at
is very beautiful.
Emily
isn't she?
Gold.
And a
Well,
lot younger.
she's a lot younger, and he met her at the gym. He approached her because she was doing acrobatic skills.
Well, looks like you're very limber.
Yeah, literally, that's what. She is amazing. She cooks all this organic food, and she corrals their children. She gave them 3 kids, I think. Shout out to Emily Goldblum. I love you, girlfriend. And she doesn't give a crap. She's off at France with him all the time. She doesn't care.
There you go.
What does she care? Emily doesn't give a shit.
What do you know the name of Keanu's new girl?
Yeah, I do. Let me just make sure. Let me double check. But she's an incredible artist. Everyone should look her up.
I'm an artist. Whoa, I ride the bus.
Let me get her name right because I'm really bad.
That's cool.
Okay.
I don't
Girl.
make movies.
Oh, and she's also like older than him, so that's another thing too. Alexandra Grant. Yeah, Alexandra Grant.
Alexandra.
Yeah.
She
Very exotic name.
Yeah, I think it's because she's older and she just, whatever, but who cares? Like, who cares? She's very beautiful by my estimation.
Well, I
But
think
yeah.
they expect everybody to be like, what's his name? Johnny Depp dating, supermodels, shit like that.
Mhm.
So it's
And again, in
whoa.
Hollywood, you never know what the ulterior motive is, with these gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous supermodel types that are out there, trying to make a name for themselves. And I sounded like Jeff Goldblum there, making a name for themselves.
I think we need to just
again,
have
she's probably like him. She's probably just real.
Yeah, she's noted for being very earthy and very real.
Like you said, he can have a conversation with her and not worry that she's going to call up all of his friends in Hollywood and go, "Hey, I'm dating Keanu."
Yeah, exactly.
What
And
can you do for me?
There's an oldie song. Do you guys know this? If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a pretty woman. Yeah.
You're the woman, your wife. Yeah.
So from my personal point of view, get an ugly girl
around
to
stupid
marry.
everyone's wife.
What'd you say? What did you say?
Don't go around stupid everyone's wife.
What the heck?
That's not the real lyrics, is it?
No, you made that up, Rory.
I think you made that up all on your own. We've
If you want
jumped
to
the
be happy
shark,
for the rest of your
everybody.
life,
We've jumped
don't
the
go around
shark.
snooping everyone's wife.
I think we've jumped the shark already. No, we've jumped the shark a long,
We
long
had
time
15
ago.
minutes to kill.
We-
We got through our list so fast because all of our picks were the same, but one notch down.
Yeah, everybody was like, yeah, JD was even noting that right on. He's like, man, he's like, you guys have usually, but it's all because of Manny, because Manny usually goes for the deep cuts. And then today he made a decision that he was going to go with the fan favorite.
I'm going to go with the
There's
fan
a
favorite.
reason they're fan favorites.
Because they're, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but then if he does it every show, it'll just be the same picks. Go for the deep cuts. Go for the deep cuts.
You want us to do the deep cuts, because that way you learn.
That way.
We had a lot of honorable mentions.
Yeah,
we had some dishonorable mentions. Again, everybody can pick a wrong movie every now and again, you know.
We had some Goldblum impersonations.
You're going to offer me how much money? And I only got to work 2 weeks?
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
I'm sure that's how Dracula happened. 2 weeks working, I'm like, how much? Dude.
The first cut is the deepest. Yeah. What am I?
Well, who are we doing next? What's on the docket?
Next week we are doing movies about Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, Sherlock Holmes movies. Good one.
Oh, Rory, I wanted to tell you, and we're going to do this off camera, but might as well just do it now. One of our show from Monday is going to be October 30th, which is the day before Halloween.
Yeah.
We were going to do, I think, either Kubrick or somebody else, but could we do Vincent Price movies that day? Since
sure,
you met the man, you know him.
Sure.
I love Price. I love his movies. Let's talk about Vincent Price on the 30th, since it's the day before.
Well, Halloween. That sounds wonderful.
Yes. We are going to talk Vincent Price.
I'll put my little mustache on and my red satin jacket for you.
Yes. I love the Bill Hader Halloween specials that he did.
Those are great
on SNL.
I love what Kate McKinnon does or not Kate McKinnon.
Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig. What's the stuff she does on those? There's this hysterical.
Yeah. I saw one where.
I
saw the one where John Hamm plays
James Mason.
James Mason, yes.
He does it as a drunk. You know, there's a story behind that. He was originally supposed to do Dean Martin, and he was doing all that. That's how all the drunk stuff was written. And and then for some reason he decided to do James Mason because I do a really good James Mason. Was he a drunk? And they just said doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was great. It was really great
because his James Mason was better than his Dean Martin.
Yeah,
and it worked.
It worked.
And of course, they had Liberace on most of those.
Yes,
with Fred Armisen.
Fred Armisen doing Liberace and always like coming on.
Are the best. Those are great.
Yeah, when James Franco came on as James Dean, and he was making all these remarks about him, you know, or like.
All right.
Anyway.
So Vincent Price on the 30th. That sounds perfect.
Vincent Price on the 30th.
Next week, Sherlock Holmes.
Later, next week, Sherlock Holmes.
A lot to cover on that one. A lot of Sherlock Holmes films. A lot.
Yeah, so. All right, Miss Renee.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. I'm doing Seinfeld again. Right.
Everybody go to Pan's channel and watch the improv that we did.
The improv
What's
we did.
the deal with all this
Seinfeld cast. Renee was my wife.
I watched some of them back. It was great. It was so great.
What's with all the cotton balls?
What the heck is going on?
I had to sustain that character for an hour.
Imagine having to stay in that character his whole life.
My teeth were falling out. There was like 3 times where the teeth. I had to grab, put them back in my mouth.
Those teeth were iconic. I love them.
Yeah.
That's my
All right.
good juicy teeth.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
See you all next week.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for watching this episode of Two Guys and Sometimes a Gal Talking About Movies. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to get future episodes.